us stand for pledge allegiance and the invocation. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the gifts that you bestow on us. We ask today for some help. We ask for the help from the victims of the hurricane, Tennessee and North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Some of them are still digging out and don't have water and enough foods. We ask for help there. We also ask for peace of some sort in the Middle East with Israel starting a ground offensive. We ask that something be upheld. And we also ask for Annex's family. We have people that are sick and in recovery, and we have spouses that are sick and recovery. We ask for your divine blessing and guidance and healing upon them. And all these things we ask in your Son's name, Jesus Christ our Lord.
Amen.
We got too many parts.
We do, I know. Thank you, Kevin, I appreciate that. All right, the consent agenda, up there on the board. Extra dot doesn't mean anything down there, but we could add as we go if we needed to.
Dot's a dot.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The JDC maintenance approval.
Okay, I'll talk on this. This is actually the generator maintenance program down at the JDC, and we had looked at 3 different contracts, and this was the best one they come up with, and Erica she accepted this one down there. So I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the semi-annual generator maintenance service from Southeast Services. I think they're out of Festus, and it's for $650 a year for a maintenance program, and they come down and they maintain the generator down at JDC.
I don't know if anything good's ever come out of Festus.
Yeah.
Are you from
In
Festus?
particular, Crystal City.
That's where you're from, ain't it?
From up there?
Yeah.
All right, and if I'm not mistaken, this can be up to a 4-year contract if we want to.
Well, it runs a year at a time, but that right now I think we're just signing a year's contract.
All right,
That's for $650 a year.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The TAP grant for the West County School District.
Okay, what happened on the TAP grant at the West County, that was a project we really need to get this approved, but what happened, it took so long to bid this that the bids come out way higher than was originally estimated. So what we're gonna do, we rejected the bids, and we're gonna rebid this later on in the winter. And what that will do will probably give us, more bidders, and hoping that gets that bid down where we can afford, because we're paying a percentage of that.
We contacted, I think, 8 or 10
Yeah.
companies that would normally bid, and only 2 bid that week. And I talked to one of them, and they said that there were 8 or 10 other bids out, that major bids out that same week. So
Well, they were all busy. Yeah, they were all busy, so I
You
think
can
we
also
can.
extend the window too for the completion of the project,
Right.
maybe like from 100 days to 180 days. Usually you can lower that bid price too.
Yeah.
Extend
Well,
that.
we're hoping we can get that down, because the percentage we had to pay was way beyond what we estimated, and this is, and we need this over there for the safety of those kids, because, right now they're either walking in the grass or on the road to circle around to the school. So we're hoping this bid goes down and we can afford to do this
I'm
job.
assuming if we bid it again, we can negotiate with the low bidder of the next,
Exactly.
if we want to value engineer, or if we want to, if that becomes a factor of the start times and the length times, as long as we get
Right.
in to where we can get the federal money or the grant money.
Rich, did you have something?
Yes, if I may,
Yeah.
the 2 bidders were not that far apart in the costs,
Right.
but the cost I know was
It was
greater than you had
58%
expected.
higher. Yeah.
My gut's telling me that I think we a lot of this stuff was estimated and calculated before COVID hit. And we all know that since COVID hit, the expenses are up. And I think you should be prepared that when you rebid it, you don't see a lot of difference. And you may need to be prepared to increase the matching grant to make this happen. Because we all know how bad the road is out there. We don't know how important this is. And so we may have to reconsider the cost to make sure the kids stay safe.
And there may be some other partnerships to enter into at that time.
The
Yes.
delay was not from the county, it should be mentioned, it was delayed from MoDOT. Also, the grant cannot be increased in any form.
Right.
And it was MoDOT, and it was also federal government, since they had to do an environmental impact study on the back, and since none of the land even had a tree on the dang thing, they're talking about height of ignorance is the federal government.
That's why we just had to get a supplemental contract last week.
6 months
Yeah.
delay.
Yeah, some of these
Make
delays
sure
were
that the
6
bats
months.
wouldn't be affected by a piece of ground that didn't have a damn tree on it.
Mm.
And it should be noted that the county commission, and I believe Kevin, contacted federal and state agencies in regard to this delay, and also the fact that probably they ought to take some consideration into the importance of individual projects. I know I sent a message to Congressman Smith indicating that we felt that we did our due diligence, and because of the whatever delay that the federal government pushed was not acceptable to local government.
Yep. And to your point, we've talked to a couple people in the industry that think that there could be as much, the timing's right, much as a 10% change, but not like a 50% change.
No. And with the end of COVID coming, the end of the ARPA money,
That's all
everybody's
everybody said
busy.
at once.
So we don't anticipate any of those costs to go down for the next several years.
I hear you.
And goods
I
are still
understand.
extremely high. I know concrete's up $30,
And
$40
especially
a
when you got it
yard.
in their head saying you have to use it by this time.
Yep.
Next year, everybody's gonna be
I
using
think
it.
that project really has to start by October of next year. We still have a timeline.
Well, you figure every,
Ideally,
Yeah.
if we could have it done next summer, when kids are
When
out of school.
Kids are out of school.
And we're not running buses right through there every day.
well, you figure all the counties, all the cities are utilizing ARPA money for match projects,
Yeah.
and there's just not enough contractors right now to go around.
Right. And yes, Rich, yes, taxes are up, great thing, but so is the price of doing business.
And we've already approached the school about taking some, responsibility and some little skin in the game on this thing too.
We all
They wanted to
have.
it too, and so they've looked at that, and I think they're gonna be cooperative
Well,
there.
it's quite obvious you guys have done due diligence and done your work. It's just the economy right now.
We have to have a motion to reject.
No.
Okay.
Oh, yes, you do.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, you do. If you're gonna officially reject all
Yeah,
this.
I'll make a motion that we reject the West County School TAP grant to rebid.
I'll second that. Any other discussion?
One other thing, the state has agreed, and they've sent that in
Yes.
writing back, that they think it should be rejected also.
Right.
Of course, they're the ones that got us in this screwy mess, so, but I just thought. I'd-
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Aye on the board, sorry.
All right, yes.
Passed. All right, the Spark Fund grant. You got anything, Mike, on this one?
Sure.
Did you want
And the mics not on.
Thank you.
This is a grant from a private organization or several organizations together. It's one of the outlets we're looking for to building or to funding a playground at Oak Creek Park, since our last federal grant fell through with that, or we were denied. So we will be pursuing this. We may or may not end up going with the company that they recommend for this grant, but we'll at least use it for leverage on a local playground manufacturer to kind of get comparable prices for them.
Is there any certain, how much of a grant? And is there matching of
It's
the?
50%, but it does not include labor, so it's not 50% labor, so we would still be installing the equipment ourselves.
It's a 50% match. Okay.
and exceed a certain amount of price in that, or is
No,
there?
there was no.
There was
price
no-
limit.
No limit, that's all right.
Well, there was no minimum either.
Yeah, that was a good thing. So,
Take the best shot.
so
It could be
it
50 bucks.
could be likely
Yeah.
that, they also have shade structures.
Yeah.
So we may even use it to get some small, not playground equipment, but small like shade structures for around the parking lot or around the trail or around where the playground will be. So even if we don't get our actual playground equipment from them, we can still utilize this towards shade area.
Thank you for doing that.
Well, I'll make a motion that we approve this, to apply for the Spark grant, grant for Owl Creek, which is playground equipment at a 50% match.
I'll second that. Any other discussion? None? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? All right, see if I can keep up with this thing. You know I'm very. Owl Creek ordinance.
Okay, well, what might come up with some ordinances on really Owl Creek, we have to before we open it. So what we were wanting to do is approve the ordinances. Well, actually, we'll be able to police, or when we open the park up, with the help from the sheriff, if we have issues over there when we open up, to maybe make sure everybody's safe, and Mike will be there during the day. So if you wanted to read over them ordinances, it basically follows along with the state.
This isn't an exhaustive list, but this is kind of some of the points that we needed to make enforceable, you know, before we actually open. That way we have a little teeth.
And I know we've looked at other parks and gotten some ideas from him, and you came up with a really nice list. And
And there's more
Yeah.
rules, but this was like some of the.
Mike, will there be a sign, will we have a sign with these on it when you enter? You'll have to abide by the ordinances, so,
So you're not adopting them today, you're just proposing them today, or you're wanting them?
no, I'm gonna go ahead and adopt them. I think go ahead and do it before you get the sign made up, because, we need to get this up.
Okay, I just
Be
wanted
ready.
clarity. Doctor.
Matter of fact, it'd be nice to have it up when they pull in there, they read it
Right.
before we open, so they know what they're going into.
Right.
Number 14, no horses, make sure nobody votes nay.
so anyway.
Okay, you need a motion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that we do adapt these park ordinances for the Owl Creek Park, so, for the opening of it,
As
will
listed.
be in place. Yeah.
Okay, I'll second that. Is there any discussion on these? Yes, Rich?
I think it's number 9, hunting and fishing. No hunting allowed except by permit. What do you mean by permit?
That means that if we said no hunting allowed, then if we ever needed to work with the conservation department for a managed hunt, you know, if something were to become overpopulated, it would be out, and then we would have to change an ordinance. This way, it just gives us a little, could be allowable, you know, if the MDC.
So they
decided-
can't fish from the bank out there?
Oh, yeah, I mean,
It
fishing
says
is.
fishing
under
is
state
allowed
regulations.
under the state.
So we're not gonna have special regulations for fishing.
Exactly.
It'll just be the state general regulations.
Have to have your license and all the other stuff.
Does the ordinance have a number?
What happens?
Or is it just gonna say by park, by county ordinance?
By county ordinance, yeah. And that's like Rich was talking about, you know, even the city of Farmington now, they have permitted bow hunts.
Yeah.
Out like out Engler, the airport. The deer get pretty thick out there, and really it's just to keep them thinned out.
And it kind of scares some of the pilots when they take
Yeah.
off and
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a group of deer at the end of the runway, or landing, and there's a group of deer there, it's just.
Yeah. And then Rich out there, it's a pretty big area out there, so it, you know, in the future, this could probably come into play.
What's pretty big? How many acres are in
Well,
there?
right now, we're only, they're right there around 154.
154.
Yeah, and in the future, this will adapt, in the future, you know, we could be looking at 700 acres.
800, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we do this now, we'll be ready for it.
Thank you.
You're saying electric bikes can be allowed on the trail, right?
Right.
So, just something, you know.
Should we clarify that more? Because I could see somebody out there and say, well, I have a hunting permit. It says
Yeah,
here you
but-
need a permit. That's my only, I could just see
Yes.
somebody.
Permit for,
trying to-
well, that would be a permit for the park. These are
That's,
just for the
that's why I
park.
think we maybe need to clarify that instead of just saying.
How
well, I have
about
my
by
permit.
county permit?
By
Or
permission.
special permit.
Yeah.
Or what would you?
It says fishing under state regulations, so you would
It
think
does-
it'd
it
say
does,
hunting
fishing.
under state regulations, but
No hunting allowed except by,
But yeah,
No, no,
like,
yeah, I
no,
don't
what
think it's
our
right.
park
I-
says,
I
that,
can see
that would be a
somebody-
loophole.
Yeah,
you know.
somebody would find.
That would
you
absolutely-
can make it say county
county
permit.
permit would clear that up, right?
Yeah.
All right, and if you already made
Or
the
special
motion to
permission.
approve it,
Yeah, they
all right,
do that
then
under-
now would be a good time to
I mean,
amend
books, they
number.
say Only so.
What does the
Now
sheriff,
you just say,
what does the sheriff say about it?
What do you say, Sheriff?
Well, and the way that Farmington does it is by a city permit to hunt on their property. So we can do the same thing with the county and do a county permit if
Permit.
the needs come up for a hunt.
Okay, we're just putting county right there.
Yeah.
So,
We'll amend it by putting county permit on number 9.
and I will second that.
Call for the vote.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Now,
Aye.
now you can go for the vote.
All opposed, same sign.
Yes, you're right. Now you've already made the motion, Pat, so now all you gotta do is ask for the vote as amended.
Okay. All in favor for the, as amended, say aye.
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 You're good.
Any opposed, same sign, hearing none, it's
Hey, one nay.
of course.
That was not me.
I know.
Not throwing my voice.
The approval of
I'm glad.
approve the multi-jurisdictional local hazard mediation plan, guys, this is through the SRPC, and, we've gotten together with a small group, let's see, I don't see Bridget in here, oh, Bridget had something to do.
You'll never be able to put that on the back of t-shirts, though.
That is not. John sent on a couple of them, and we have one more left, but we need to get this resolution approved. And it's up here, as you guys want to read it if you want, but it's the adopting the St. Francis County Multi-Jurisdictional Local Hazard Mitigation Plan. And it's all about different schools, areas, I think Deloge, Bonne Terre, Park Hills, and the school districts are all involved in this. So any hazard, there's supposed to be all kinds of, a big plan to go with it. And if you guys want to see that in full, we will have that as of next week. So I guess we just make a motion for the resolution.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the multi-jurisdiction local hazards mitigation plan for St. Francis County.
And I will second that. And is anybody?
I just wanna say there's already one in place.
Yes.
This is just updating, from the last 5 years. So you guys are just updating the resolution, basically.
Thank you and Clay for being in on that, Bridget and IT. So, all right, any other? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Okay. People representation.
Well, what this is with the county, we were wanting to get a local, really a local counsel on legal matters with the county, that he's familiar with the local county. So I was actually gonna make a motion to approve Tom Burcham to represent the county on local legal matters.
Okay, on a couple of the lawsuits we have, we need to have personal representation for the county because they're being represented by the insurance company.
Right.
And we need to have somebody representing our interest in personal injury. And since he's a specialist in that, that's one of the reasons.
Yes. And I'm going to second that. Also, any other comments? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Thank you. And it's also awful nice to have somebody local here that we can bounce things off with too, because I'm not a local guy. All right. Opioid settlement funds, funding objection, oh wait, this is the other one, I'm sorry, I should have cut that one out, that doesn't mean anything. Here we go. All right, next regular meeting will be the first of the quarter, Monday the 7th. So all your items must be in by Friday the 4th, by 10 p.m. At 10 a.m. I will not be here at 10 p.m. All right. Any correspondence? I would like to put this next slide up before I go to the public comments, though. I'd like to say congratulations, Parks, for your commitment to the county and your continuing training. And I know there were some others that were training, but I didn't have anybody else's, so I put yours up there. So, any public comment? Department reports? Get it?
We averaged 30 voters a day this past week, in our first week. How many got these? We sent out over 25,000. Should be everything you ever wanted to know about this election, when you can vote, how do you change your address. 40% of the people that will vote in this election will have not voted since 4 years ago. You know how many people move in 4-year periods? Lots. Don't be that guy or that gal that everybody behind you, because we're gonna have lines. And that change, when you change it the day of the election, they have to call our offices over there, Linda, Rhonda, they put them on hold, they take your information, because we've only got 3 systems hooked into the state's voters registration, because for security purposes, we don't have one here, it's all there, but you have to manually do that, and everybody behind you has to wait for you to do it. Do it now. All you gotta do is take this barcode and you can change it electronically. So, and then we're trying to get a lot of people in a Weber Road right now, and then we will expand the hours when we go to no excuse voting. And the other thing I wanted to bring up, I hope this is thinking ahead, that's weird of us, but in December, a lot of people are wanting, they'd like to attend your meetings.
Yes.
And we have Christmas Eve on a Tuesday, we have New Year's Eve on a Tuesday, and then we have the start of the next quarter on the 6th. So I want people to think about it. If you got any different ideas, I think that we ought to nix the Christmas Eve one and not have one that week, because we're off on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then have one on New Year's Eve, and maybe we could tie it in with the swearing in of the newly elected officials, right after the meeting, and have their swearing in as effective as of that night at midnight, and then that way it will already be done. We can have a little reception like we did last time with cake and cookies, and have the friends and family of especially the ones that have been elected for the first time. So think about that, but I know there's some planning that needs to be done, and so that may be a good way to do it.
Okay.
I think we did that, 4 years ago, didn't we do that? We did it in the
Very,
evening.
very similar, but it all depends upon how it falls, and this year those both fall on Tuesday.
Yeah.
We need to think about it, because I, for one, plan on being down in Florida on Christmas, but I'll be back in time if we set it that way, but I'd like to figure out when we're setting them.
Okay. Any other department reports? None? We'll go to the next slide. Oh, that's Parks again.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second. All in favor say, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Somebody ever told you, said that they would, this was before the hurricane hit. They said they were going to get
slide, guys.
passed over.